I think particularly in the world of work where you're rewarded for achievement above all else, one of the problems with achievement orientation is that it often is so short-term focused and it comes at the expense of your health. And you and I have talked about this offline. I'm curious to know what it is. What do you think it is about high achievers that makes them focus so much on the achievement side but not realize the importance of that sustained health? Because I kind of think if you don't have that sustained health, you can achieve for periods of time and even decent periods like 3 years. But you always tend to see people hit a wall. So what is your thoughts as you're hearing me kind of just ramble my way through that? How do you achieve without hitting the wall or going through burnout?
How long you got? Oh, I love this. So sustained healthy performance can be many different things. But for me, I've been on the far extreme of that where I have actually dropped into significant burnout twice in my career. And what do they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Shame on me, yeah, that's right.
For me, when I had such a passion for the work we were doing around mental health and wellbeing and speaking out for the people that don't have a voice, that was a chance to really advocate for a large population of people where I took that on with myself and the work I was doing as purpose. It's purpose. I've got a purpose. And when you've got a purpose, it actually can drain you far quicker because you're feeling like everything's on your shoulders. So it's not really answering your question because I'm going straight to the issue of burnout. But I think in order to sustain that performance for a significant period of time, it's being aware of not only the performance in the moment and that moment of impact, but it's also the micro moments around that. So I've got a 5-step model. Number 1 being preparation. What are you doing to prepare for that moment when it comes, not just expecting to be zero to hero in the moment of high pressure. Then you've got the early warning signs and awareness in the step 2. So understanding the triggers and early warning signs in your own body so that you can see that, the pressure's starting to rise here. And I now know that I need to employ these wellbeing strategies to get me back to that equilibrium. Then we go to step 3 and then you're in the impact zone. And this actually came around from like preparing for big wave surfing rather than actually preparing for leadership, but it works so perfectly for both environments. In the impact zone, you've got some pretty important things you can do then and there to manage your wellbeing, whether that is, box breathing or combat breathing, they call it in the SAS. So whether you're doing, pause, hold, like you're literally giving yourself an opportunity to regulate your nervous system and reset. And I think that one of the biggest problems that people have is they don't actually have the moments to rest and recover in order to then be that expected high performer. So connection is number 4. So really understanding who you can get in your support network around you to back you up, because you do not need to do this stuff by yourself, but a lot of people think they are an island. And that sort of reset is number 5, being you must always remember that recalibration is a part of the cycle to then be a high performer.
And I want you to... I'm being really bossy. I want you to do this for me.
Let's go.
It's classic. I'm just thinking about those 5 steps, and I've probably learned through experience of not doing them. And it's really interesting even hearing you talk about the impact zone, because I was imagining as like big wave surfing and having watched a few different big wave surfers and being like, how do they do that? Like, I want you to talk to me about your burnout story and what you took away from that experience that has undoubtedly changed your life.
What I learned is that as leaders, we can't be everything to everyone. For so long, I was trying to hold everyone else up. As a lifeguard, as a CEO, as a therapist, I'd literally spent my whole life bringing people up to the surface. Yet I was sinking myself. So I needed to look in the mirror and I needed to take on my own advice and not think that I was above it. They say that 50% of psychologists did it because they had mental health challenges and wanted to understand their brain more. I would definitely agree with that because a lot of my peers are in the same space that I am. Like I am not a psychologist. I'm an occupational therapist by training. I specialize in early psychosis. But for me, it was how do I make sure I learn from my experiences so I can help other people avoid them?
Mm.
So the other thing that I find really fascinating is that regardless of how much you know that you're not doing things for your well-being, you just stay in that rhythm.
Yeah.
You're really feeling that, aren't you,
I
Shell?
am. I'm sitting here going, yeah, absolutely. I can tell. A few of my friends are going, no. It's like, you're talking to me. Yeah. And it's the vicious cycle. Like, but it's hard to spot when you're in it. And so like I'm thinking about that for you as being someone who actually has so much knowledge of the industry, of how the brain works. Like what did that look like, that burnout experience for you, and how did you find your way through it?
For me, the early warning signs, step number 2, were I was actually getting really irritable. I was snapping at people in my life that were closest to me. Years ago, my ex-wife said to me that they get the best of you while I get the rest of you. And that was a punch in the face, metaphorically, because I needed to hear it and it allowed me to change the way that I was putting energy out there and, more importantly, conserving energy for myself and the people in my life. Nowadays, with almost a decade later, I've got a young family. A beautiful slice of my world is like making sure I do protect my time, making sure that the whole point of setting up a portfolio career is that you can pick and choose the amazing projects that you work on and get that balance back in your life a little more. Whether that's going and doing a keynote a week, or whether that's going and doing a workshop one a month, then you've got time with your family to do the sorts of things that you didn't necessarily get when you were putting all of your energy and all of your time into everyone else because you thought that's what you had to do.